If you've been enjoying our podcast as much as we have and hope that we continue past 50 episodes, here's your chance. Here's your chance to help make that happen. By becoming a Patreon subscriber, not only will you help the Little House on the Prairie 50th Anniversary podcast to live on, but you'll also get exclusive content just for you.
Here's what's in store for you. Join monthly Q&A sessions where you can ask us about anything. Whether it's about our work, personal interests, or advice on your own projects, we're here to connect and share.
Enjoy unique content created specifically for Patreon subscribers, including bonus segments from our shows.
You'll have a say in what we create, and you'll have a voice in future content.
Benefit from exclusive discounts on merchandise and entries into special giveaways. It's our way of saying thank you for your support.
Receive personalized shout-outs in videos, podcasts, or social media posts.
Because your support on Patreon allows us to dedicate more resources to creating the content that you love.
You could join the Little House 50th Anniversary podcast community on Patreon and become a Prairie patron for just $5 a month. We thank you so much for your continued support, and we cannot wait to share our ongoing journey with you on Patreon. We are extremely grateful for the support of VisitSimiValley.com and the city of Simi Valley's belief in Little House on the Prairie and their support of the Little House 50th Anniversary podcast.
Discover the charm of Simi Valley, California, the home of the prairie. Visit Simi Valley, where adventure meets history and the spirit of the prairie comes alive. Explore the Ronald Reagan Presidential Library, step aboard Air Force One, enjoy stunning hikes and savor delicious local cuisine. Whether you're here for a weekend getaway or a family vacation, Simi Valley offers something for everyone and is only 30 minutes from Los Angeles. Plan your visit today and experience the best of Simi Valley. Go to visitsimivalley.com for more details. Your adventure awaits in Simi Valley.
Hello, everyone. Welcome, bonnet heads near and far. You know me, I'm Pamela Bob. I'm your host. I'm the creator and star of Living on a Prairie. If you haven't watched it, go to livingonaprairietv.com. So easy. And I am here, well, she is coming to us once again from her second home away from home. That's right, it's Alison Arngrim, our prairie bitch, our lovable prairie bitch. En français. She's working out the Wi-Fi. And straight back from his trip from Burlington, Vermont and Malone, New York. That's right. He's our hashtag imaginary boyfriend. It's Dean Butler. Hi, Dean.
Hey, everyone.
I can't wait to hear about both of your adventures. Allison, should we start with you? Tell us a little bit about your
Allison is in perpetual motion right now.
I know. She's trying to find the perfect Wi-Fi spot.
I think I found the spot. I am Sappho everywhere. It's out the cartoon. Yes. So I came to France to do my little show, Nelly Olsen and Flamme les années 80, which we just did all over the place. And I think pretty much 6 out of 8 are sold out completely. It's good.
Good
you know
for
what?
You.
So that's happening. And Belgium is this weekend, is finishing up in Belgium. But I got a little break, and my friend Jimmy, who, do you like the shirt? The shirt is Jimmy.
Love the color, love the shirt.
Gets me all these beautiful clothes. I was hanging out with him, and he said, well, my family's going on vacation. You want to just come with us? Yes, you do. I said, sure. So I got in the car with a whole gaggle of his entire French family, and we're in the fabulous Basque region, and we just went to Spain for lunch.
Oh, Allison, that's great. What'd you eat?
Cabin in the Basque region here, which amazingly sort of has Wi-Fi.
Yeah, I really want to know what you ate for lunch.
Shrimp in garlic, and then these little duck pieces in a
rich
pork sauce thing, and then there was steak. I don't know.
I'm dying to go to Spain primarily for the food. I told you I'm a food I'm a food person. When I go somewhere, food is like the main thing I want to experience. So dumb. Oh, your lights just did something funny. Oh, there you go. Yeah, France and Spain, not too shabby on the food game. Yeah, not too bad.
Yeah, you should come with me because it is just like a giant food tour.
Well, let's get some prairie people out there. Woo, woo, woo. We're manifesting it for 2025. Here we go. So you have more performances coming up?
I do. Just two more. Yeah,
okay.
Yeah. And interesting, the place in Belgium is called Western City. So there's some kind of thing going on with it. Yeah.
And then is there some kind of documentary production being done that's following you to Belgium?
Yes, there is. TF1 is coming to follow me around, sort of like reality show style.
Well, this is your dream. This is your dream.
Yeah, and we're gonna have a little video call and catch up on stuff. And they're like, "Oh, great, you'll have Dean Butler on."
Oh my gosh, that's so exciting! How fun!
You'll let me know when I need to tune in or when I need to log on. So we'll do that.
Exact time, because it'll be like, "I knew she had a call from Dean Butler." That will be sort of
okay.
Wow, you guys.
That's
You're
awesome.
Living the dream. Dean, I want to hear all about your weekend you just had in both Burlington and Malone. Please tell me everything. I don't know anything yet.
So, I flew in last Wednesday, I flew into Burlington, Vermont to do a signing event on Thursday night. The timing of things, you can't travel on the same day and expect to do something on that night, even if you leave at the crack of dawn from California. So I flew in on Wednesday. Thursday evening, I was at the Barnes & Noble in Burlington. Burlington is such a beautiful community.
It's the most beautiful.
I just, one of the things that's so cool when you get off the airport is there are rocking chairs all over the airport that sort of I don't know, northeastern cozy casual vibe is all over that airport.
Peak October.
Oh, it was incredible. The leaves were amazing, and the weather.
This is so dumb, but the movie The Birdcage.
Yes, sure.
And there's a scene in The Birdcage.
Isn't that set in Miami?
It's set in Miami, yes, but there's a very awkward scene where Gene Hackman, it's like the two parents are eating dinner and it's uncomfortable. And Gene Hackman is starting like conversation about, the weather, and it's painfully uncomfortable. And he's just talking about, the foliage of New England.
Yes.
And he just goes on this boring rampage of the foliage of New England. And the thing is, it's true.
Yeah. No, exactly.
Then you go there and you're like, oh my God, it's all true.
Yeah, no, it's just beautiful. And then on Friday morning, I drove across from Vermont into New York, into northern New York State, and to Malone, New York, the home of Almanzo Wilder as a little boy. I've been to this location many times. I've shot a documentary there. It's really, really beautiful. On Saturday, we had a beautiful signing event. There were several hundred people there. And here you're seeing a picture of the Almanzo Wilder farm and the line.
Oh, and it looks beautiful.
It's gorgeous. I can't tell you how beautiful this is. We go to some really pretty places as a cast. The Almanzo Wilder farm as an aesthetic is as beautiful a place as we could ever go to. I think, Alison, we need to try and go there next fall to do an event as a cast. I think it would be great. So we're going to be working on that.
2025 manifestation.
One of the fun things that we did during that visit, and we'd never done this before with selfies, was a little event with a Morgan horse. And so we have a picture. I think we have a picture of me and a Morgan.
So
this is Indy, the 3-year-old Morgan gelding, who's just beautiful, beautiful horse. And fans got to come in and stand next to me and get the picture with the horse. And that's a true Almanzo Wilder experience there. So that was really, really
you look
fun.
Like an authentic,
There you go. Yeah. And the people that came, we had some actual patrons there with us from the podcast patrons.
Oh, great.
So very grateful to all of them. So
Yes, we are. In fact, I have to say, someone commented on YouTube, last week's YouTube, and they were a little angry that, why do you have Patreon for people that can't afford it? It's not fair that we can't see anything. And I just have to just say, I know it might stink if you can't do Patreon, and we're sorry, but literally the reason we're doing Patreon is so that it can support us doing the podcast. So if we didn't have Patreon, we couldn't do the podcast anymore. So please understand that. It's nothing personal.
Yeah.
Right?
And we're not charging.
Right, exactly. I mean,
we're only charging $5. Yeah.
It's
$5.
It does really truly help us to get it done. So
Yes.
So thank you for the patrons, to our patrons, and yes, please don't be. Yeah, well, you're going to feel the way you feel, but the podcast is only here because of the patrons. So thank you so very much.
Yes, we do appreciate it.
We do so much free content. We're always popping up on.
Oh yeah, people should be starting to receive some of the stuff that we sent out last week.
Yay,
I mean, I don't know. We should be hearing from patrons that they've received the envelope and with bookmarks and pictures and so forth, and they'll be looking for yours, Alison, when you get home at the end of the month.
The plane lands on the 30th. I will get up on Halloween morning.
Jet lagged and all, you're going to load those envelopes. All right, very good.
Bob will have a stack of envelopes and the stack of photos waiting on the coffee table with a Sharpie.
All dressed in a vampire outfit or something like that. Yes, exactly.
Okay, good.
I was just going to say our patrons are great people. Our little house crew, our entire little house company was populated by really great people. Many of them in the industry for a very long time. Alison, when I think of Whitey Snyder, and you have great Whitey Snyder story. I mean, and you've maybe told it before, but remind people about who Whitey Snyder was.
Who's Makeup Man?
Makeup
Man.
I
mean, they did everybody's. Okay, Whitey and then Gladys and Larry Germain and Gladys Whittencoit. All of the people worked the makeup. They had all worked with Betty Davis and Joan Crawford and Linda Darnell and Marilyn. Everybody. Faye Dunaway. Everybody. Literally everybody.
Whitey Snyder was the makeup designer for Marilyn's iconic
her look. Yes.
Yeah, insane.
He made Marilyn Monroe.
And he was her friend.
Yeah.
And he loved her. And that's why it was kind of a whole thing when she died about doing the makeup for her viewing funeral and thing. Yeah. And that was the whole thing. He had this, everybody had gifts that Marilyn had given them, little necklaces. And he had a money clip, this beautiful one. And it was engraved and it said, "While I'm still warm, Marilyn." And I'm like, what an adorable but odd thing.
What a great picture.
There he is. Wow. There they are.
And Gladys said, Marilyn used to say, "Whitey, when I do die, I want you to make me up while I'm still warm."
Wow.
Not. And then, of course, he did. So, yeah.
Oh, what an awful and also beautiful thing.
Well, today
they were that close. They were so close.
Yeah. And there are so many stories like that, Pamela. So who's coming up today?
Well, today we're talking to one of the youngest, maybe the youngest, most devoted member of the Little House crew. Yeah, you guys have been wanting to hear from crew members. Here we go. We talked about her last time. Also, we'll hear some of her best memories of influential people she worked with so closely. Being a part of Little House crew was apparently a very envied position in Hollywood. Is that because everyone was just a good egg and the schedule was really good,
I think that has a huge amount to do with it. And Michael was great. Michael and Kent were great to work with. We're going to hear from our guest about the two of them, I am sure. But let's get to the introduction.
Let's get to it. But first, from the studios of UBN Go in Burbank, California, this is the Little House 50th Anniversary Podcast. we go. I'm excited. Okay, so anyone who's worked in production knows how critically important the crew is to the success of any project. In fact, I don't think most people know this. The crew is, in my opinion, sometimes I'm like, the crew is way more important than the actors.
Oh my God, yes.
They
are the foundation. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. They're every single day. They're the first to arrive. They're the last to leave. They set the tone for the actors, for the entire set who come to work and play each and every day. They're so vitally important. And our guest today was one of, like I said, maybe she was the youngest crew member of Little House when she began. Do you guys want to introduce her?
Yeah, no, we certainly can. I think she had to have been among the youngest. I've seen pictures of her. She looks like she's barely out of high school.
Yeah, she looks like a teenager. I know.
So this person was, I think, one of the closest links between cast and crew. She was the dialogue coach, and anybody who has been an actor on a set trying to learn dialogue as you're stepping into a scene for rehearsal or to shoot, you are having very close interactions with this person, and they are watching to make sure that you are saying it as it was written. And on some shows, people play fast and loose with scripts. We didn't play fast and loose with scripts on Little
That's
House.
probably because it was really well written.
It was well written.
Yeah.
And the person who wrote it or rewrote it was right there
right.
with us. So, there was a extra special reason to get it right. And our guest today was that person who was responsible for monitoring that we got it right. Let's say hello to Charlotte Randell Yerke. Hi, Charlotte.
Hi, everybody.
I'm
so happy
studio,
to be
baby.
here. Thank you for having me, and I can't wait to talk.
Charlotte, we keep talking about, first of all, hi, welcome. We're so excited to have you here. We keep talking about seeing pictures of you, and you looked like a baby when you started on Little House. So would you tell us how old actually were you when you first started on Little House?
I was 20 years old.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
and
you were a kid.
And you were there
I was
the
20
duration of the
years
entire
old.
series?
Say that again.
Were you there the duration of the entire series?
No, I started the middle of the second season and left the middle of the 9th season. So a little bit of history of how I got my job. My mother-in-law, Mary Yerke, was the script supervisor on this show. She started on the pilot and went through till 1978. But she knew Kent McCray from working on High Chaparral. And Erica Warner, who was a script supervisor on Bonanza, was not available for the pilot. So they brought Mary Yerke on. And then her daughter and I were very good friends. And one year we went on location. They were filming the camp out. And we came back and Mary said, I'm going to take you to work with me. And she did. And trained me right on the set. I sat right next to her, learning from all these incredible crew members. That I think the one thing that we've shared before about the crew, many of the crew started with Michael and Kent McCray, our producer, from Bonanza, and went on to Little House on the Prairie, and then Highway to Heaven. So they were very devoted to Michael and Kent, and in turn, Michael and Kent were very devoted to their crew. You hear this from, there aren't many of us left anymore, but that was always the case. And once you were on the show, you didn't want to leave that position because it was just so great.
Did you know you were being set up to learn this position? I mean, did you know what you were getting into? And she said, come to work with me.
I had no idea. I had no experience whatsoever in any bit of show business or behind the scenes, and it was all new, and it was just an incredible experience. And to learn from these professionals that had so much history in the business behind them was just a treat. And to be honest with you, during that time, I was unaware of how lucky I was until time went on and I heard more and more, and especially as over the last maybe 10 years or a little more, I've gotten reacquainted with a lot of the cast and crew. And just celebrating that time with them has really brought all that back. So it's been really great, especially with the 50th that we've been celebrating.
Well, yeah we're going to talk about what you've done for the 50th later on. I'm curious, I don't know if it's an accurate characterization, Charlotte, to say that you were this bridge between production and cast, because you're monitoring what everybody's saying. I know I had to have been a problem at times, but was everyone pretty good? Everybody was really good, especially the kids. The child actors. I don't think I had to rehearse really with any of them. Melissa was, I didn't even go there because I didn't need to. Catherine McGregor liked to rehearse. She enjoyed that. Richard Bull, not so much. Karen, not so much. Richard, Karen, and Catherine were all trained in theater. So they were well trained. Yeah. Michael liked to rehearse only because he was so busy beforehand, either setting up the shot, whatever. But he would come over, look at the script, and he would just like to run lines. Did he really do that? I was never really aware of that. He just always seemed to be. I never saw him preparing. He was always doing. It was just like magic for him. Yeah, he would, just come up to me and just say, "Can we run through the dialogue and everything?" Shortly before we were getting ready to shoot it. So he was just kind of prepping himself. Like I said, he probably either wrote the episode or was directing or was very involved in it. But the dialogue thing was not something that he worried about until that last minute, and then was, spot on.
That's why it always looked so seamless. He was prepared, and it always looked so spontaneous. But I remember, he knew what shots he was going to do before he got there. Everything was prepared to absolutely an insane level, and made it look like he was just winging it. When you were doing dialogue coaching, you were also learning from Mary the script supervision portion of it. Explain to people a little bit, and I'm sorry we don't have a script to show. Looking at a script supervisor's script, you can see the edit on the page, basically. Yeah. It's a pretty remarkable thing to look at. I think one way to explain the job of the script supervisor, her journal, her script, is like the journal for the editors. So basically a script supervisor, when the camera crew, the crew is setting up the shot, you would go over either to the cinematographer or the cameraman and ask them what that shot was going to be. So then you would write it in pencil in your script and then describe the shot. And then once it started to being filmed, you were sitting basically right next to the camera. So you were seeing everything that the camera was seeing. And then you would be watching being filmed. Also, you would have a stopwatch. And the minute they said action, you would start the stopwatch and time the scene. And then also following along all the dialogue, making little notes, continuity. If they take a book from the left hand to the right hand, marking that down. We would start with a master shot and then do the pickup shots, the two-shot, over-the-shoulder shot. So all those things had to match. So the script supervisor making those notes would be that go-to if there was a problem. Also, you're watching the dialogue and making notes and making sure nothing was left out. Part of my responsibility as dialogue coach was to watch that dialogue. If the director decided to change dialogue or cut dialogue out, it was my responsibility to make sure that the actors had that changed. And then while filming, watching all that dialogue, making notes, certainly a little ad-libbing or changing dialogue a little bit. And then if anything was left out, to let the director know that, and then they would make that decision if they needed to reshoot it. So a lot of detail work. Like I said, a script supervisor has a stopwatch. It starts with the word action, then cut. You cut it up. Then you circle which one was printed and the time. Each hour episode took 47 minutes of film time. So that timing, there was a daily log that went to the editors of all that information. So like I said, a lot of detail work, but fascinating work. I mean, just to, and we always say it would take
20 minutes to set up the shot with all the lights and the stand-ins, and then maybe 23 seconds of film time. But just,
Yeah.
That's really, because I was going to ask you, so what happens if someone either leaves something out or says a word wrong, or you wouldn't stop, you still continue with the take and then let the director know, okay, just so you know, they didn't let out this word, or it was, they said it this way. And then the director decides whether they need to redo it or whether it's fine.
And I have a couple of my working scripts, and you can see little notes. Maybe they would just switch a word here and there, but it didn't change what was needed to be said, so that could be left in. Yeah. And then if anything, a major part was dialogue that was dropped or anything, I would just let the director know, and then they would make that final decision if they needed to reshoot it.
You still have some of your scripts with the original notes from shooting?
I do. I have 2. We got a new script every year, and every week, and we would bring it home, get it, and break it down. I think I broke one down for you. And you'd just go through it, and you'd have to, because we never shot anything in order, so you had to break it down for day, night, and then interior, exterior, and the little notes for breaking it down. But I have 2 of my working scripts from the very last season, Little Lou and Rage. And it's really nice. Like I said, everything's in pencil, and it's quite a treasure for me to have them. And I'm very grateful that I have those 2. I wish I had saved more in hindsight, but like I said, we got a new one every week, so it was just.
When you're breaking a script down, I mean, we would also get day out of days from a second assistant director. Are you breaking it down for your purposes and they're breaking it down for their purposes, or are you breaking it down for them and they turn that into a day out of days schedule?
No, we're breaking it down for ours. Yes.
Yeah, got it. Yeah.
That would be Reed Redmond was our
right.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Our second assistant director.
Reed or Miles Middow. Well, Miles was the first.
And Maury.
And Maury. Right. Yes.
But
Maury.
Reed was the one that would do the call sheets every day and stuff like that.
Charlotte, how long did it take you? I mean, you sort of started unknowingly on this job, and then you sort of became I suppose, like an apprentice to learn it. And so how long was that time from you really starting to learn it till you were actually doing it?
Well, I was always doing it. Even though I wasn't the main script supervisor on this show, my title was dialogue coach, I always sat right next to Mary, or later Erica, and then Dwayne, right next to them, and kept the same. I did do some second unit shooting, but I just started from the get-go and just did the same,
It's just so wild how that just all
happened. When you get to know Charlotte a little, and it's been so great that you've come back to join the cast and so much of the activity that's gone on. But Charlotte, you always got this feeling with Charlotte, for the audience out there, Charlotte just embodies love and kindness and decency, and she brings that to all the interactions that she has. I remember one day, I don't know what was going on with me, but I was having I've told Charlotte this story before, or I've reminded her of it before. Oh, I do. I'll never forget it. So I was really having a bad day and whining about something. And Charlotte just stopped me, pulled me up short and said, just learn the dialogue and do the scene.
I don't remember that.
I do, and it was such. Yeah, and it was so good. I so appreciate that. I mean, it really brought me up short, brought me back into the moment, and got down to business. And that's the kind of kindness, and I would describe it as a little tough love. It's the kind of tough love that you could bring. But you did it in the nicest possible way. There was nothing.
Okay, I hope so.
There was nothing harsh in it, but it was just very real and so appreciated.
And I must say, I remember your very first scene out on the ranch, and you've talked about the coming down the hill with the team, and I remember that. Yeah.
Yeah, no, it was that was a fun moment. Let's talk very quickly before we take a break. The leadership. So much of what makes a show work is the leadership. of that group. Talk a little bit from your perspective as a member of the crew about the leadership that we experienced. We've all talked about it enormously, but
yeah, it always comes from the top.
But how did you react to it?
Well, it all started at the top with Michael and Kent, of course, but everyone worked together like a well-oiled machine. As I said previously, a lot of the crew came from Bonanza. Kenny Voigtlander, Buzzy Boggs, our cinematographer, Kenny Hunter, our camera operator. I can still see him with his arm over the magazine.
I know.
The signature, you'll see it behind the scenes shot. Our camera operator.
Always on a fluid head. No wheels, no cranks. He was always just on a fluid head. Yeah. He was amazing.
Describe what a fluid head is for people who don't know what that is.
Well, no, I would describe it as like Mike Bernardis, who was a Steadicam operator and a camera assistant. He was learning to use the wheels. So you would crank one wheel, so you'd pan with a wheel and tilt with another wheel. And a lot of operators work that way. And he became just expert at tracking people with the wheels. Kenny wanted none of that. His head had some friction in it, but his head was totally free. And so when the camera moved, it was because Kenny was moving the camera exactly the way he wanted it to move. His pans were beautiful. His tilts were beautiful.
It was like he was one in the camera.
Yeah, he was
great.
By hand, yeah.
No, not like nowadays, not push a button, not turn a wheel, nothing. Like literally, here, let me move the camera. Oh, and of course, one of the fun things I always remember about Kenny was his car. He had this, I don't know what the year the car was, but it was like an early 70s Thunderbird, and it played the USC fight song.
Oh gosh!
Da, 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 da. I mean, it's like that was his. He was a huge USC guy. And, of course, USC had wonderful cinema and obviously a great football program. He was very into that.
Yeah.
Was Kent McCray, did he run the crew?
He was the producer.
He was a producer. And I've shared this with fans. There were no egos. Michael had the same dressing room as everybody else. Kent, if a truck got stuck in the mud up at the ranch, he was out there pushing with all his might. There was no high, low. Everybody was equal. We all felt that way. And for somebody like me, no experience in the industry or anything, it was family. There was everybody cared about when we would go on location. You could take your families with you. We've talked about our shooting schedule. We were done by 6:00 every single night.
Yeah.
I mean, there was no.
It's amazing.
7.5, 8 pages a day. Boom, boom, boom.
Yeah. And that was part of, I think, the
12 pages.
Well, there were those days, but that wasn't every day. But Michael could shoot those days if he had to.
But we did 12 pages and got home for dinner.
Yep. Yeah,
incredible.
Mind-blowing.
Let's talk more with Charlotte, and after we take a quick break.
When we come back, all right, guys, we'll be right back.
When you visit Simi Valley, California, you're stepping into the pages of history. Go from the pioneers to the presidents. Explore beautiful wildflowers, hike through iconic Hollywood locations, and end your day aboard the actual Air Force One at the Ronald Reagan Presidential Library and Museum. Throughout the summer, take the Little House 50th Anniversary Tour at Big Sky Movie Ranch. Less than 15 minutes from Los Angeles and 30 minutes from Universal Studios, Simi Valley has small-town charm with big-time history. Go to visitsimivalley.com for more information. We are so grateful to visitsimivalley.com for their commitment to presenting the Little House 50th Anniversary podcast.
So we are back with Charlotte Yerke, who is our wonderful dialogue coach and worked as a script supervisor as well. Charlotte, all of us who are part of developing the 50th anniversary celebration, you were very much a part of that. What did that mean to you to step into that 50th anniversary event?
Well, as you know, we started thinking about it before the pandemic, and started out small and not sure, and working with Simi Valley Chamber of Commerce from the get-go, you know, and Danny Sanchez, Rachel's husband, always wanted to do something. He born and raised in Simi Valley and Big Sky Ranch, or as
they were married there.
Well, exactly.
Yeah.
And Big Sky Ranch, where the town little house was, and when we were there, it was called Tapa Ranch. It was, but we wanted to do something to celebrate the 50th anniversary. The fact that 50 years later, it's so popular, and I can't tell you how many fans and have shared how much it meant to them. Multi-generational fans. So it was just something that we wanted to bring to life because it was such a part of our lives and touched so many people. Multi-generationals. You know, you hear of grandmothers said that they watched it with their grandchildren, and now those children who have grandchildren are watching it. Yeah. And just, you know, Michael touched on subjects that weren't touched on back then in the 70s, but he had a way of respecting those subjects and touching on them and bringing them to light with a very respectful way. And I think that's what it really has made this fan base what it is. And
well, let's with the 50th, Charlotte, it was cast members, it was Little House super fans.
Yes.
Critically Little House super fans, and as members of the crew, it was you.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm sorry that more people, because there's so few. I mean, you have a sense of this maybe better than I do because you've kept in touch with people, but the ranks of our crew have thinned pretty
very
dramatically.
Much so. Yeah. I know when we were first starting, I went over to Susan's house, Susan McCray, our casting director, and she had a crew list, and we went through it, and she said, "Oh, they're gone. They're gone. They're no longer with us." And it was the majority, probably 90% of our crew. Yeah. To be honest with you. You know, like I said, I was 20 years old, and a lot of this crew were with Michael on Bonanza.
Well, and a lot of this crew were their 40s, 50s, and 60s when we were working. These were seasoned people who were doing this with him. Now, since the event, I love this. So we did, people who were there know that we did tours of Big Sky Movie Ranch, and you know, wonderful tours on buses and the facades that Orlando de la Paz painted, and Eric Caron, two super fans. Eric designed them, Orlando painted them. They were installed by a crew. They're still standing there now.
Yeah,
and
they're insanely amazing.
They're amazing. And Charlotte, you have started giving tours. Now there are a lot of tours given. There was a script that was written by Stephen Wishnoff that was very much sort of anecdotal and trivia based and all that. But as the tours have evolved or continued on, they have become much more personal. And and I haven't been on your bus because I'm giving tours of my own, but you give a very special tour. What do you focus on when you give the tours at Big Sky?
I think one thing I love to share when, if you've ever been to Simi Valley or anywhere in Southern California in spring, mustard is blooming, beautiful yellow mustard. And during March, when we had the 50th, mustard was blooming a little bit. But by June, when we started one of the first tours back to Big Sky Ranch, it was full of beautiful mustard blooming. And I tell the fans that whenever I see mustard anywhere, it reminds me of the ranch because of the memories that we had there. You know, we filmed at the ranch 2 or 3 days out of an episode. So we were there often. And we started filming usually between April, May.
It was sort of mid to late May is sort of when it would begin.
And then through January. And then we were there through the heat of the summer and winter. And it got hot there and it got cold. You know, I have pictures of me in a parka in Simi Valley.
Oh, yeah.
You know, and then in the summer, we would have towels around our necks to keep sea breeze. Remember
and shooting
breeze?
winter scenes in August and September, which was, of course, the way it had to be.
Of course. So to be able to be a tour guide and take fans up to the ranch and tell them my personal stories, especially as you're going up that first hill and you make the turn towards the left.
Yes.
And there's the little house. And then right in the barn. And then right across the road is the hill for the opening credits.
Charlotte, I have a video of me in the car where Kevin Tyson took me and Chris Chaika up, on like the Wednesday or Thursday, before the festival officially started. And he just gave us a private tour. And we're driving up and I'm recording it. Because, you think you're going to go miles and miles and miles before you hit that house, right? Yeah. And it's that the chills up my spine when you go up that hill and you make that left and there it is. And then you look to your right and there's the hill and it's unbelievable. And I'm just screaming. You just hear me screaming at the top of my lungs the entire time.
I wish I'd been in
thrilling.
that car.
What?
I wish I'd been in that car.
Oh my gosh. I'll show you the video. It's ridiculous. It's just because you're not expecting it. You're just not expecting it.
Yeah.
And I think the fans, everybody feels that. I hadn't been up to the ranch since last time I went was first time I went after leaving the show was 2016. Wow. And nothing was there. No facades, nothing.
Nothing.
And I could still see everything, because it was so embedded in my memories, where the town was, everything was brought in, all the water for the creeks, but having the facades there and them being placed where they were, it just brings all that back, and being able to share that with the fans and showing them hill where the wheelchair came down, and then remember the pathway between Nellie's and Hanson's?
Yes.
There was this dirt pathway that we would take up to where the honey wagons, which were our dressing rooms, restrooms, and the catering truck, and there was that big red barn where we would have
the
lunch.
Gunsmoke barn.
Yeah.
I did a bonus content with Melissa Gilbert called Remembering the Last Farewell back in 2006, I think it was, for Imavision, for a piece of bonus content. And when obviously everyone knew where the little house was generally, I really struggled going back into the Walnut Grove area because it had changed so much in that time. The trees change, that all the reference points have gone away. I mean, yes, you knew where the circle was, you knew basically where things were, but it was that, for me, it was placing in my mind where the post office was, where Hanson's Mill was, where the Millstream was, and then, once you got into town, you knew where Nellie's was, you knew where the church was, you knew where Olson's Mercantile was, you knew where the Feed and Sea was, you knew where the bank was. When we set out to do the event, as it formalized, we've got to make this look like what it was. So we went in there and mowed. I've talked about this before. We put 600 tons of road material down to recut that road into that road had been allowed to go away.
Oh yeah. So the main strip and then the circle,
all that
where
was
the
gone.
church is.
Yeah, I mean the sweetheart tree was there. All that was there, but you really couldn't tell exactly where it was until the road went back in. And then things started getting placed, and Eric Caron, incredible Eric Caron from Montreal, geolocated. He gave us coordinates.
Unbelievable, his brain.
Yes.
So GPS coordinates to know exactly where to put these things down. And as they went down, the town came back to life again. And fans got to see that.
It did, and just as you go into town, and that's how we would go. And I love that it's all that point of view. Even the interior sets that were in the gymnasium at the 50th celebration, it was all the camera's point of view, and that's what the fans saw. That's what we saw filming it.
Right.
And to have those sets and have those facades back at the ranch just brought it all back to life.
Well, we hope it continues on. That certainly we're going to be doing tours at Big Sky Movie Ranch through the end of the year. There are going to be tours in November and in December. You can go to SiMiValleyChamber.org. You can look for Little House 50th Anniversary and bus tours. Charlotte, you're going to be there giving tours, right? I need to sneak on your bus and listen to your tour, because I think there will be perspective there that I don't have, because my experience is different than your experience. I'd love to hear your experience with it.
I would love to have you.
Well, it'll be great. It'd be great. I think we need to say goodbye, Pamela.
I know the time goes so quickly, Charlotte. We cannot thank you enough for coming. We were singing your we have been singing your praises for a very long time, but last week in particular, and the fact that you came on for this week is just thrilling. Thank you so much, and it was such a joy meeting you and seeing me as well. And in See Me, I just want to say, in See Me, you were wearing a beautiful necklace, a beautiful brooch necklace that you said Catherine McGregor had given to you.
I
which
did,
is very special.
It's a decoupage, but it's got 3 girls, and one has braids, so it's the 3 girls.
Oh,
but
great.
it's just one of those momentums that I have, that I had a great relationship with Catherine and a lot of the cast, and just.
I adored her too, Charlotte.
Yeah.
I really did.
I was lucky enough to see her a couple years before she passed.
Yeah.
We went.
Oh, good.
I went to her place in Hollywood, and we went out to lunch, and we just had a great visit, and so that was really nice. And I'm so happy to be here, and thank you so much for including me in this and welcoming, open arms into the Little House family.
Charlotte, you're right at the center of the Little House family. Absolutely.
I'm the one that they're welcoming in.
Yes, and Pamela's made a wonderful contribution. But Charlotte, you are a deep in the heart of the Little House family. So thank you for joining us today.
My pleasure. Always, it's my pleasure to have been. Part of that, and to continue to share that with everyone.
We love it. Well, let's.
Yeah.
So,
And come
Pamela,
back.
what do we say now?
All right. Well, we have to end this episode, unfortunately. But if you want to know more about us, join us on our socials, Little House 50 Podcast, or our website, littlehouse50podcast.com. And everything will be in the show notes. So the bus tours and what you guys are doing. So, stay tuned and join us next time. Bob, get the wig.
Want to fly with us,
Time
Charlotte?
to fly. We're going to fly down the hill now, Charlotte. She's doing it. I love